Hello everyone, and welcome to part 2 of the Tamiya Formula E TC-01 build. In this video, we'll be getting to the nitty-gritty, installing all of the electronics and the central motor mount. So without further ado, let's jump right in. One of the pieces Tamiya wants you to install is an old school transponder mount. Since I have my own personal transponder, I won't be including this in the build. However, if you still use one of these type of transponders, now is the time to install it. I was finding this part of the servo install a bit tricky, so I opted to approach it a little differently. Screw these two screws in only part way, then flip the chassis over and insert your servo under the washers as shown. Make sure to feed the servo lead to the hole in the bottom of the chassis first. Go ahead and snug these screws up, but don't tighten them all the way down just yet. You can now tighten down all 4 screws. Double back the servo lead to the hole in the chassis. We'll tie it all up later. I decided to install the central motor mount first so I could make a better decision on electronics placement. The instructions mention using grease to hold the red bushings in place. I highly suggest following this step. Since I don't have very many Tamiya pinion gears, I always try and swap out the Tamiya spur gears with something in either 48 or 64 pitch. I decided to start with a Kimbrough 48 pitch 64 tooth spur gear. Not knowing where I might need to be as far as gearing, I started with the pinion gear close to the stock one as well. A 25 tooth 48 pitch Robinson Racing pinion. After some back and forth as to how I wanted to mount the electronics, I found it was going to be a much cleaner install if I swapped the positions of the ESC and receiver from what the manual suggests. The only downside I found was possibly the weight bias being off, but adding a couple of sticky backed weight cubes should remedy that. Hang on, we need to pause the video right here for a second. After taking the TC-01 to the track for its first outing, I ran across a pretty big problem. You see, to change the gearing, you have to remove the gearbox via 2 screws on the bottom of the chassis. But with the motor wire so short, this was going to be a problem. I devised a fix using these bullet plugs that we used to use back in the day when you wanted to change a motor or battery and didn't have access to a soldering iron. Quick, easy, and inexpensive. There's definitely not a whole lot of room in that chassis for wire management. I opted to mount the switch on the outside of the chassis to make it easy to get to. And that completes part 2 of the Tamiya Formula E TC-01 build. Please make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit that bell icon to be notified of future TC-01 videos. If you have any comments or questions, please leave them below. And thanks for watching.